is the word. Truth's the word.
Truth is
I
the
like
word,
it.
and I don't see any point in wasting any time, McFadden.
You
You
know,
looks like you're overdosing on a big gulp of coffee
oh yeah,
from the
I've
Albuquerque Quick
wasted
Mart.
I've wasted plenty of time. Oh yeah, big old yeah kitty cat cup.
Beautiful. Well, I'm pumped for you, man. You just did Mark Maron's podcast. That I feel like that was a long time coming. How did it go? I haven't listened to it yet. Did you feel pressure, like knowing there was like millions of people listening?
Well, the thing is, when I was actually there doing it, since it was just two of us,
Yeah.
it wasn't even a consideration. It just felt like two guys talking. So
Right.
that was good because if I was thinking about that, which I did afterwards, and then I couldn't help but think of all the stuff that I should have mentioned or should not have. But you
What
know,
was some of the stuff you were like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that?
well, sometimes when you get into the personal stuff, past relationship stuff, I'm like, do I need to share that with the whole world?
Yeah.
But we
But
didn't
that's just
get.
good content. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So you know what? We got to get personal. I mean, that's what it's about. We have to reveal ourselves, right? So,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
it's free therapy for you,
yeah, it is. And I
I
use
mean
all
the
the,
world we're coming out of this era where or we're coming into this era where like honesty is like a high currency, as long as you don't have like a tight ass boss or you're
yeah,
not in a tight corporate structure. Like I feel like people who are self-employed are obligated to speak about these things, or maybe their dark spots or their kind of
yeah,
skeletons, because it's good for people to hear. It's
it
like we
is. Well,
can't all be
because
faking it all the time.
that's true. Because we have so much. There's such a dichotomy of that. Because on one hand, we are kind of living, presenting ourselves in a more unrealistic way than ever. To an extent, right? Like with Instagram, TikTok, and everybody is dolling themselves up and just putting out the sweet bits of their life, whereas people do need to. But on the other hand, there's been a real interest in mental health and sort of just recovery and stuff like that, which is great because now people can actually talk about this or have a forum to speak of it, and it's not so stigmatized. It's not like because you go to therapy or a nut job, and the fact is we all are. I mean, everybody. I think the realization that everybody is somewhere on the spectrum of mental illness. I mean, that's just kind of, we're all,
Yeah, I mean, I would agree.
yeah,
It would be a red flag if somebody didn't have a few struggles here and there.
yeah. You'd have to wonder, like, is this person for real? I don't know.
Sure,
And
yeah,
it's hard to
totally.
trust that, right?
Right,
Although
yeah.
it's probably happened so once in a while, people that are just somehow totally fine, which I don't know
Yeah,
how you
like
can.
when you ask someone or like, "Hey, Eric, how you doing?" and then you're just like, "Oh man, just, morale is low. I'm just honestly pretty depressed right now." It's like, "All right, cool. Thanks
Yeah,
for the
thanks,
honest
thanks for
answer."
sharing. Right.
Yeah. So how did you meet Mark Maron? How did that come about?
Well, it was the guitar shop, a place called the Guitar Shop in Albuquerque, New Mexico, on Central Route 66, right there. And I would go there every day after school, right? About the time I became obsessed with guitar, right? And so I remember being like in fifth grade, and it was a few blocks from the house. So I was allowed to go there after school as long as I made it back. That when they closed, it was about dinner time, homework time. So
So are you like 14 at this time?
I'm a little younger when I first started going, like probably 11 or
Okay,
12 when I started hanging out. But yeah,
nice.
by the time I was 14, I was pretty much just living there. And
Yeah,
so, like, the old guys, they're not very old, they're in their 20s. But to me, they're pretty up there.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but they let me hang out. I'd, play the guitars all day and listen to them do their banter and their joking around with each other, most of it going over my head. But I'd read the Guitar Player magazines, play the cool axes. As long as I polished them and took out the trash, I could hang out and do what I wanted.
Oh yeah, so you were like kind of a pseudo employee for them.
Sort of tune the guitars, polish the guitars, take out the trash. Then they'd even loan me a guitar now and again. If I had a gig in the Yale Park across the street, they'd let me take a Strat over there to sit in with you know. So it was kind of cool. And then I took lessons there for a while from a guy named Stan Hirsch. So, but Mark, oh yeah, so stay on track. Mark Maron worked right next door at the Posh Bagel, and where he earned the name Bagel Boy from a couple of the guys in the guitar shop. But he was a guitar enthusiast and player, so we were in each other's orbit. I'd get bagels, he'd come to the guitar shop. Plus, we went to the same high school, but he was a couple of years older than me, so we weren't like, he was an older kid. But he'd always pop over and ask me some questions and about guitars, and
nice.
So that was kind of how all that started. And but then I remember one day we were in the Frontier, the legendary Frontier restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where if you go to Albuquerque, you have to go to the Frontier. It's just that's just a sort of a requirement. And he says, I'm splitting, I'm leaving for LA, I'm going to be a comedian. And that was, it was one of those just right out of the movies kind of things, right?
Yeah.
And he picks up the newspaper and he starts riffing on it. And I'm like, yeah, that's real funny. Yuck, yuck, and
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, well, you go ahead. I'm going to be a rock star. Yeah.
Nice.
So
well, hey man, you're both fucking doing it. So respect, that's.
Hey, we followed our dreams, Brett.
Yeah, man. It's a long burn, As long as you stay in the game for 50, 60, 70 years, you're gonna make it at whatever you do.
Yeah. Well, I told myself, like, if this doesn't hit by the time I'm 70, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I said I'm giving this a good 55 years, and then that's it. I'm not going to invest any more time after that.
Oh, I love that, man. That's a great spin on the cliche. I'm going to give it till I'm 30, and then
right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, good luck. If I gave it till I was 30, I wouldn't have gotten shit out of this. Well, I would.
And that's but it's I don't know, man. You look great. You look cool.
I can hear you better.
With the glasses on. Sweet. I think I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I talking about?
We're talking about the fact that until you're 30 thing.
Oh, yeah. It's I feel like stuff doesn't start happening at all till you're at least 10 years in, probably in most arenas of work or hustle, it's like, so
I think there's a lot.
To count yourself out by the time you're 30 or 39 or 42 or whatever, it's just that's no good,
giving yourself a chance by that,
right
to really get into the good stuff.
So are you done on the fuck, my timing's off today, my man. I'm sorry.
Oh no, there's a little delay with this thing, so just kind of
So are you done on the circus tour? Are you because you were I looked at the calendar in Portland last time I was out there, and you happened to be playing in town. So you're like, come on over to the circus. We just put up the tent in the middle of this parking lot in Portland next to the river. And I go back, and you're you're behind the red and white striped circus tent, just like getting ready to roll and rip guitar to trapeze artists, blowing shit up and lighting things on fire.
Yeah, wasn't that something? Yeah, that was a real old school traveling circus, and it was 4 months of that. Kate Vargas and I, right, and it was great. And I think that run in Portland, that was towards the end of the last couple of weeks or so of the 4 months, and it was a great surprise to see you out there. Actually, it felt like a little breath of home, really, in a way.
Wisconsin, yeah,
a little, or having our little,
Well, man, there's nothing I love more than attending just weird off-kilter events, and that was really the pinnacle. You kind of you find this gravel parking lot in the outskirts of Portland. The ticket taker is also the lead carnival guy, and the trapeze artists are these just chiseled, beautiful but super ripped ladies that are also selling the popcorn, and then they go blow fire on top of the tower. It's crazy.
It's nuts, right? Everybody just does everything. You're the person that just sold you cotton candy is suddenly swinging in the air, and
I love it, man. DIY to the core. When you think about circuses, you think about the massive one at the Pfizer Forum or whatever, the classic, just huge arena. But this is DIY down home indie shit. What was capacity in the tent?
Oh, the capacity, I think it was 250, the tent.
Yeah.
And it was just really everybody built, we were out there swinging sledgehammers and erecting poles and building stages and unloading everybody does everything. We build the tent, we it's just a all hands on deck kind of operation. It
How
was
did that gig come about? How'd you get connected to it?
well, just through I'd known them for some years. Like many years ago, I did a few shows with them, and we were hooked up through a promoter friend, and then Kate and I started playing these gigs in Mendocino County, Fort Bragg. Our friend Scott, and he brought a couple of the members out to perform with us, like Justin, the suitcase clown. He was awesome. A couple of these folks,
Yeah.
Ross, Travis, and it was just cool. Then they just asked if we'd be interested, because we were backing them up, playing music for their acts, and they just asked how we'd feel about going on tour with a circus, and I'm like, well. So we thought, what else are we doing? This is a year ago, right? So a little over a year ago that they asked, and at that time it seemed like, well, it'd be an interesting experience at the very least. So we might as well give it a go. Plus, at the time we didn't have a lot on the books, which is, of course, naturally by the time we signed the contract for the circus, we got all kinds of great offers, that we couldn't take.
Yeah.
But that's how that works.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you got there and started like driving stakes into the ground and building like apparatuses and circus tents, was that like a holy shit moment of like, oh God, what have we signed up for?
Yes, it was. Thank you for asking. Kate and I just look at each other like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? And because for one, we were not given a lot of information or prep. Nobody told us really, like, nobody got into specifics. It's almost assumed like somehow they've been with the circus so long that they forget that not everybody knows how this works.
Yeah.
It's like they maybe just forgot to communicate that to us. We didn't know what's going on. We show up, we get in our converted box truck, which we were in at first, and then we got better living arrangements. But we're just seeing people are out there in the morning swinging their hammers. We're looking at them. Oh, they're working hard, just drinking our coffee on the on the lawn by the trail, like not realizing we're supposed to also be slinging those hammers, right? Everybody's looking at us. What the fuck are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, are we? Do you mean that? Oh,
shit,
okay.
yeah.
How do you hold this thing? Yeah, but by the end of it, we're like, wow, we learned some new skills. I guess now we know how to build a circus tent.
I bet you got pretty chiseled too.
Yeah, we're looking right now. I'm not looking as lean and fit as I'd like to, Brett. To be honest with you, not.
You look good in 1080p, dude. You look the same as you did when I met you 14 years ago. So
Right.
You're doing something right.
Well, I can't believe we've known each other that long. I have such immense respect for you, I must say, though, and what you do, and it was nice to go back and actually listen to, like I told you a while ago, listen to some of your music and go, oh wow, yeah, that's right, that's why I like.
Yeah,
Brett.
we've written some cool songs together, man. Thanks, and thanks for the kind words.
Oh yeah, no, it's really a pleasure. Yeah, I really like the songs we've written. It's just I just stumbled upon "Haunt Me Out."
Yeah, I don't think that ever made it to the world, but
No,
I think Black Taxi Car has been played on 4 continents and covered by at least a few people. So that's good. So I got this random text from some kids earlier in the year, at the end of last year, and it was just this fuzzy lo-fi video, and I didn't actually know who these kids were, but they were covering Black Taxi Car.
Wow,
they're like, hey man,
awesome.
we covered your song, check it out. It was amazing. I got the tingly feeling in my spine.
I love that. I love people. I mean, I love hearing that. Yeah, and more people covering songs, the better. That's a beautiful thing.
That's the highest honor, I think, as a songwriter. It's like
Even
a level up than someone singing your words back at you at a show is like, damn, you actually learned that song. That's insane. Cool.
I wish people would learn more of my songs and cover more of my songs. Honestly,
maybe we could get some incentive or a publicity stunt for the next album campaign. Maybe I'll pay people under the table to cover my songs and make myself look cooler than I am.
Yeah,
that'd be something.
That would be awesome.
Boost my perceived value.
Yeah, we'll get Adele and Bruno Mars to cover our songs.
Yeah, yeah, that won't cost much.
No, that won't cost much. We can pay them.
Well,
Invite them.
I
Yeah.
mean, let me just extend the respect, right, ping pong it right back at you, man. Because when I first met you at Steel Bridge,
Oh yeah, Steelbridge
I
Song
was like,
Fest.
yeah, yeah, Sturgeon Bay, this little town. I'm like, this guy is like the best guitar player I've ever seen in real life, and he's like hanging out with me, and he like wants to write songs with me, and I'm like a 25-year-old little delinquent with zero experience, just like. But
Delinquent.
I always very commendable about you. You just showed up every year and wrote with everybody in every hotel room, and it
It, it
always
was
came up with
awesome.
some great stuff, great times.
It was awesome. There's a lot of amazing moments there at the Holiday Music Motel, right? I've even
Unbelievable, dude.
I even came across a little bit of video of us riding Black Taxi Car in the part like and working on it in the lobby and
Really? Can you
yeah,
send that to me?
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I found I've got little snippets of us at the Holiday
Wow.
working on it, which is pretty nice to have right now. Actually,
That's
it's like
magic, man.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, to set it up for people, the Steelbridge Song Festival, it's kind of this one of a kind songwriting festival. It happens in this little town in northeast Wisconsin, right on the bay on the water where this old 50s motel turns into like this
yeah.
songwriting mecca and it closes down to the public and all the little rooms turn into these songwriting rooms and people from all over the country or the world kind of you get paired up with
Yeah.
one or two or three other people. You write
Yeah,
it, you got to
spin
write
the
a song
bottle
and
and you get
spin the
randomly.
bottle.
Yeah,
Yep. Pair up and then you
yeah,
record the songs that night in these little like DIY studios, and then you perform them live around the city on the weekend. So it's a pretty
yeah.
magical thing.
It's a beautiful thing. And a lot of great stuff has come out of there. A lot of cool, amazing collaborations, like 1,500 songs, and
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like crazy. Yeah, it's really, really awesome. Our buddy Pat McDonald founded it, but without the help of Melanie Jane, of course, that thing couldn't
Yeah,
have operated like it did. But yeah,
right. And Anna.
and Anna.
Um, so I mean, you've been a road dog for a long damn time. What are your aspirations kind of coming out of post Panda? Are you still like pumped to hit the road and go tour France and Germany
Yeah.
and Africa and all these places? Like, where's your mind at with that?
You know what? I still love touring. And I still like. You would think that after all this time, maybe I wouldn't. But I think having that little break, that imposed break was probably helped light that desire again. I will be going back to Europe. I had two European tours in 2020 scheduled that were both canceled that I still haven't
Yeah.
made up, but I guess that's going to happen in July. So we're going to finally 3 years late get back to Europe, and so that's exciting. There's actually as of today, we are allowed to announce Bottle Rock. So Kate and I, with Sergeant Splendor, with our project, will be doing a few festivals, Bottle Rock, Joshua Tree, some other stuff. So we're going to get to
Nice.
do some cool stuff this year. We got another album coming out that's already finished. So making stuff, still making music. What else are we going to do, really? But
Gotta make
I,
stuff.
I know, and I still love touring. I still get the same anxiety about traveling that I always have. It's really funny how that's never really eased up. It's like it's not the being out there; it's the getting ready to go part. It's the sort
Yeah,
of
no, totally.
anticipation of it, right? That's you always just feel like, oh fuck, I hope everything's going to go right. Am I prepared? It's like, what,
Of course. Well, and you're leaving the safest, coziest place in the world, which is your little living room and
yeah,
your little
yeah,
couch,
your little
It's
domain. It's nice,
yeah,
We have,
that's a real thing.
yeah, I hadn't been home to New York here for 7 months until we got here last week. So
Wow.
Kate and I, there's the red couch back there, right?
It's a
The OG
classic.
red couch. We've got our picture of Tom Waits hanging above it there. That's Kate's signed print there.
Nice. I remember years ago you were like kind of famous in France. Are you still touring over there and stuff? You still got some steam
I'm,
going over there?
I still do, surprisingly, because I had lost a little, I felt. But see, what happened is I hadn't gone back for a while. And then when I went back, I was a little concerned that my following there might have dwindled out completely. But they have long memories there, apparently. And somehow people still showed up. I was like, wow, this is
Yeah, that's great. When
unexpected.
did you
So,
start? Did you start playing there like pre-internet?
well, I think the first time I played in France just under my name, like my own gig, was 2006. That
Okay.
was the first Eric
So that was when
McFadden.
there was still some music, like traditional music industry left, and the internet wasn't that fast yet.
Yeah, like there was internet and there was downloading, but streaming wasn't even that big of a thing. It was like you could still
Yeah.
download your MP3s from iTunes and all that, but it was like it hadn't completely taken over and dominated everything like in the way it has
Right.
now.
Right.
So like you
Yeah.
could and sell actual like still you can sell. I feel feels like you can sell a lot of physical like CDs over there still. Even like last time a few
Wow.
years ago when I was touring there. I brought some merch, and I was surprised at how quickly it sold out. I had to call the label and ask them to send more stuff, you know,
Nice. Okay.
which
Good.
was good. So it was like that helped sustain us on the road, all that.
The CD
Well,
era, so still always alive and well somewhere, you know.
somewhere, some people still. I mean, we've got CDs still. I'm like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
France, it'll probably be toast in 1 or 2 or 3 years. We're gonna have to start touring where the media is still where it's still happening. Maybe
I know.
Senegal tour, Ethiopia tour,
Yeah,
2026.
yeah. Guam.
Sell some
How are the
CDs,
things in
man.
Guam right now? I'm not sure. Yeah,
Guam's a hot compact disc market.
yeah, man.
I'll talk to my contacts there and tee it up for you.
Yeah, I think it's time to. I've been skipping over Guam this whole time. I don't know. Yeah.
Guamapalooza, yeah. Puerto
Guamapalooza.
Rico. I had a buddy tour Puerto Rico a couple of years ago. He said it was really fun. I don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
his standards were for shows over there, but he said it was a great time. I know they love punk rock and that
Oh
whole
yeah.
world over there. So
Oh yeah.
you
Cool.
never know. You never know where you'll find a little magical hotbed of music in a foreign country. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, you get around a lot. I like keeping up with your stuff. I get your emails too. I like that you're very engaged with your audience. And you kind of share little tales of the road and like just personal sort of you know struggles and such.
Yeah,
But
thanks.
it's like
That's fun. I love that type of writing, tour journaling, and like you kind of
yeah,
you tell the stories or the nuances of things that happen like
yeah.
between shows. Like I was in Czech Republic and I just saw a guy like walking a wolf around the city. He just had a wolf on a leash. It's like the most
That's
Eastern
awesome.
Europe thing. Like so, you write about these types of things and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the meth heads skirting around outside your window.
Oh
It's fun.
God, yeah.
It's fun
There's a
to
lot.
paint a picture.
It is because that's what's happening. We're seeing things happening in the world, maybe more than people that don't do what we do. Because we tend to see a lot because we go a lot of places, and it's to reflect that. I think is important what we see in the world. I think it's kind of a strange time to be alive for everyone because we've seen some incredible or endured some crazy changes in life recently, right? I mean, and so the fact that we collectively as a people are pretty traumatized, I think it is important that we're kind of sharing experience and kind of we want that. I think it's important to convey to people that hey, you're not alone. We're all in this. This is the whole world is fucked up. I get it, but we're kind of trying to make the most of it and
Yeah.
express that in a way that helps us feel sort of
It
at least
seems to be the mainstream or the common narrative right now that everything's fucked or it's the end of the
yeah,
world as we know it kind of vibe. But
yeah, yeah. That's a
I
lot. There's a
mean,
lot of
but
that.
maybe not. This might be like the best time of all time.
Well, you know
It's
what?
like
Weren't we saying the same thing? Like in this, if you look back at people like interviews and people who were like actively involved in our culture, like politics and social commentary and stuff in the 70s, 60s and 70s, you hear the same thing. People really feel like this is the end of the world. This is as bad as it gets. And
totally.
just like we thought, like I thought back in my own Bush era, I'm like, oh wow, this is it, man. This is like this is the end. I thought George W. was the end, and of course, upon reflection, it looks pretty mild in comparison to like when coming to the Trump era and stuff, right?
Yeah,
But
or like you're alive like and you know Vietnam War, Martin Luther King Jr. gets
Yeah.
shot,
I mean,
JFK gets shot, and then
that's
Robert
devastating.
Kennedy gets shot. I mean, that would
Think
seem
about
like
that. I mean, that's
the end of
crazy,
the
right?
times. Yeah. I
That
mean,
really
I
would.
think we always just love a good end of the world hypothesis, or a
Yeah.
hypothetical like it's all
Yeah.
over. I don't know what that is, but maybe it makes people feel comfortable that it's all going to
Yeah.
end anyway. Let's just kind of ride it out and
Yeah.
have a decent time. But I think there's just like so much unnecessary suffering that people do to themselves, me very much
Yeah.
included in that, just like the
Oh yeah.
unnecessary worries or the panics or the
We
hyper
suffer
focusing.
we suffer
Yeah,
more by
it's
our own hands than we do probably, but from anything else. I mean, it's we are the architects of our own suffering. Yeah. I mean,
totally, man.
and
I
people
mean,
suffer over the stuff that is absolutely, that's not even happening. That's not even real. It's like what we create, the possibility of what might happen is what torments us and what we suffer over, thinking
yeah.
this is going to happen, thinking, worrying that this isn't going to happen. It's not even what's happening most of the time. It's just what might happen or could happen, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I guess that's called script writing, according to my new therapist,
Well, there you
who's a
go.
legend. So, and he's like, so you're gonna have these triggers. You're gonna feel a tickle in your throat, and then maybe that's the physiological warning that you're about to have a panic attack about losing your voice. So don't do a bunch of script writing and go, oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go to the doctor. I'm not gonna be able to sing Friday, Saturday. Like, just stop
Yeah,
writing the script before
you've
you
already
start.
you've already got it all mapped out here in the yeah. Yeah, yeah. The script writing, I think that's something that most people, I think, that's anxiety. That's the whole future tripping thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like most of the things that we've freaked out about, like, don't come to fruition. All of these worst case scenarios that we conjure in our brains, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sometimes they do, but most often they don't.
Yeah,
It's
and I
like,
mean, things are gonna suck from time to time. That's just part of the
yeah,
whole deal. It's part of
oh
being a
yeah,
person. It's part of owning a meat suit and operating it around the world and walking around the planet. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I I love to put hypothetical numbers and percentages on things. I mean, I think 70% of my worries or 90% of my worries it's just unnecessary suffering that I could probably just delete if I could better train my
yeah.
mind and my emotions and take my mind to the brain gym more often, whether that's in the form of
The brain
therapy or
gyms are
or stretching or exercise or music or
all
noodling
of
on the
that
guitar.
contributes, all that stuff you're mentioning, yeah, contributes to your well-being, and people having more self-awareness in that way is really a big key to, like, overcoming that shit, because I think you have to understand where it's coming from, how responsible you are for creating this suffering. Once you kind of get a handle on that and go, oh wow, this is of my own making, and then you figure
Mhm.
out, then there's tools that you can sort of acquire, right, to help you kind of overcome that stuff. But you have to kind of first be willing to, have some awareness that it's happening, and then a willingness to do something about it, because it's actual
Totally.
work.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't just get to, you actually have to do something. I mean, there's action involved and action required, right? So,
Damn right. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
what was your most vulnerable time as a person, like mentally, where you felt like you had the least amount of tools to deal with shit? Like, when were you just like, fuck?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that when my teens, because that's when I didn't even realize, like, I had no real sense of, like, what was affecting me, like why I was tormented and angry, like, and it was so much of what I've come to understand, like from my childhood. And my parents were great, but we all suffered some trauma. We had my parents were an interracial couple, and at that time in the world, it wasn't quite as accepted, and we uh, I dealt with a lot of racism as a kid. We everything from just the classic mother pulling her kid away from you, to the being shot at through your window by a racist landlord, to, like, being just a lot of stuff, right? The world was nuts, right? For me in a lot of
Your
ways.
landlord shot at you through the window?
Yeah, that's a thing that happened because he discovered that my father was with the wrong colored family. So that was
Holy
it.
shit. That sounds like a story. Can you tell that one? Or
Yeah,
is
well,
that
we'd
it?
moved to Van Nuys, California from Albuquerque. We thought we'd try that out. Then that was sort of a miserable time for us because, I was going to a school suddenly where there was racial stuff, and I was kind of facing sort of violence and verbal sort of abuse every day. Um, and also at the same time, my parents, um, my once my mother tried to pay the rent, my landlord realized that she was not the right color. He ended up he actually was on the roof across the street and he shot it through the window to,
What?
yeah, it's crazy. I know. We
Oh
obviously
my
we didn't
God.
stay there any longer. So we moved back to Albuquerque and it felt really nice, actually. There should be,
Oh,
it
dude.
was,
Wow.
yeah, after that experience. So, I mean, there's things like this that have occurred in my life that I didn't really give much weight to, I didn't uh, process really, the right way. And later on, I kind of started to try to understand what had truly had profound impact on me in my life, in that way. And then
Sure.
that helped because a lot of times, you're like, why am I like this? Why do I react this way in these situations or to these things? Or what am I really suppressing here? Where's that coming from? So once I kind of started to look into that, I was able to. But of course, that was one period. But that's not to say that my adult life didn't suffer too, because I discovered alcohol was a really great solution to a lot of these problems, which became obviously the biggest problem. The solution became the
Mm.
problem. Um, um, and I went through like as you know, and have even experienced firsthand to some extent, I was in a very toxic, poisonous sort of relationship with a person. And that was a
Mm.
time where I didn't even realize how I had succumbed to such manipulation and like,
That was scary, dude. I was worried you were gonna get murdered, to be honest.
yeah, and
But I can
that's not
cut this out if you want.
not an extreme concern. I mean, not that far fetched. I mean,
Right.
I hate to say, I mean, that was terrifying. And in retrospect, I realize just how, uh, like you find yourself in that position. Like, how do you get there? How did I even allow myself to get there? It was just insane to be.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
things obviously worked out, so because that's not
Yeah.
happening anymore.
You're
And
doing great, man.
yeah,
And
I've got,
to to bounce back at you, like I can't relate to growing up black, but the trauma of people being mean to you for unprovoked reason, especially
yeah,
in youth and childhood and your like imprinting
yeah,
and developing phase, like that fucks you up so hard. Like
it really
like
does.
you walk up to like a circle of your friends and acquaintances in like middle school, and then everyone just stops talking the second you approach the circle, and you're like, and that realization of like, oh my God, they were just shit talking me.
Yeah,
And look, for no reason, it just makes you want to like
yeah.
end your
Like,
own
what the
life, you
fuck
know?
is wrong with me? Yeah, I
It's
know
brutal.
it is really brutal, especially at that time. You don't. I mean, we're not equipped to deal with that. I mean, what are we supposed to say? Well, it's not me, it's them. I wasn't able to do that then.
Right. Yeah. I
Like,
mean, damn.
yeah, that's tough. But and then here we are, we're musicians, and the part of it is like, look, I'm on stage. Look at me. Attention, me. Um, I'm special. I'm here. Everybody's looking at me. Like, at the
Do you think
same
it's like
time.
a reaction to like the not getting love as a middle school or a grade school student?
You know what? I think it not directly, but like it's kind of it becomes sort of a way to feel validated and loved, right? Because at first it was an escape, like from the cruel world, the music. It was just something I did because it was real medicine, and I just loved it. I just immersed myself in the music, and then nothing else mattered. Then eventually you realize that this sort of gives you some kind of credibility or some sort of like people suddenly, oh wow, you can play Led Zeppelin, cool,
Mm,
or
yeah.
whatever. And then and then it's like yeah, then you're like, oh wow, people
It's your
like me more now
ticket to the
just
dance.
yeah,
Yeah.
just because I play this thing. Okay, well, so
Yeah, I remember that being just a huge relief to discover the guitar, and like I no longer had to go out and play recreational football and get brain damage, but I could just go into my
yeah,
parents' basement and just like learn chords and like record them on a little tape deck. And I
yeah.
actually just stumbled upon this song "In the Garage" by Weezer off the Blue album. I'm sure you know
Oh
this
yeah,
track.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of a silly song, but what an anthem! Like just a
yeah.
song
But
about a weird ass kid just hiding out in his garage, like
yeah,
to
man. But
hide from
that's
the world. It's like how relatable to so many people, and it's like such a
totally
perfect song, you know?
completely relate to that. We didn't have a garage per se, but still, same idea, right? So,
Yeah, the
you
garage just
know,
sounds so much cooler than
it
the
does the
than playing in
bedroom.
the basement. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that really was such an amazing thing to be able to have support, though, from my parents. Not everybody, like a lot of kids around me, didn't have that. They're like, they felt this guitar and rock and roll music was a waste of time, but my parents were very supportive of that. You know,
Oh yeah, wow. I mean, your dad, I know I've hung out with him a handful of
yeah,
times. He's like your biggest fan, and
yeah,
it's
he's
great. He gets
awesome.
so pumped talking about rock and roll and your trajectory and stuff.
Yeah, man, he's a real knowledgeable and really passionate about that stuff. Really, he really enjoyed your stuff too. Really had he
Oh,
loved
cool.
meeting you and Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
always a great stop off to hang out and smoke a J with your parents through Santa Fe on the
yeah.
on the way to California, you know.
yeah,
Eric's not home, but you can party with us.
yeah.
Perfect.
I don't have to be home. I'm there for you to enjoy, my
Your
parents'
dad will always
company.
have some like profound take on like the JFK assassination or like some intel I've never heard about before, or like some
Yeah,
undisclosed UFO documents he'll have acquired, and it's always
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. It's a wealth of stuff going on in there. Yeah,
Nice.
Kate and I just got back from New Mexico. As it turns out, Kate and I, both of our parents we're both from New Mexico, so we hung out and did a few shows and hung out with my parents, hung out with her parents and her sister and my brother and the whole
That's a
shebang.
magic state, dude. New Mexico.
It really is. I mean, like at first, both of us just wanted to get the hell out of there, but now we love it and we love going back. It's a pretty great place, you
Yeah, what
know.
was it like growing up there?
At first it was just what it was, but then as I got into music, I had all these bigger aspirations, and we kind of became I kind of got to be a little bit of a big fish in a small pond, and then needed to get out of there. So, at some point, I finally left. But, I started going on tour first. But what I love about it is aesthetically, I love it. I love the mountains, Sandia Mountains, Manzano Mountains. I love the sunsets. I love the green chili. I love the adobe. I love
Yeah.
the Native American culture. There's a lot to love about New Mexico.
And then what was the move where you were like, okay, I've kind of hit the ceiling here. Where did you move to LA in your 20s, or what was that like?
No, went to San Francisco. I kind of, we were playing the Dingo Bar and Beyond Ordinary and all these cool spots, and there was a scene downtown. But then at a certain point, it was just like, what else am I going to do here? So I was encouraged by my late great friend Ron Donovan, and also Michael Dean and Bean, these musicians out there. Michael was in a band called Bond that was awesome, and Bean was in a band called Helios Creed, and they wanted to start a new band, and so they encouraged me to, like, between Ron Donovan and them, like, okay, you've got a couch. So I came out with $75 and all of my stuff crammed in the back of their car, and you know, started finding gigs here and there. The Paradise Lounge gave me an acoustic happy hour gig, and it just started kind of rolling from there. Then I got my whole band to move out, Paulo and Paula and Marisa, and we got started Liar and then Alien Lovestock. I got that whole band to move out. I basically brought two entire bands from Albuquerque to San Francisco, and then we all just ended
Wow.
up living there. And
So is this San
um,
Fran in the 80s or
this is
90s or
'90s, yeah,
hell yeah. That
'90s.
must have been wild.
Yeah, it was really something, and things went really well for a while. That we kind of really started to gain some momentum and started to hit the road, and that's when I also started meeting some of the more notable Bay Area folks, Les Claypool, and I had met him before my first trip out there, but when I saw Primus, but then we ended up sort of getting to know each other and doing stuff together, and a few more. It was a lot the Fourth Street Tavern in San Rafael became a regular Tuesday gig that blew up into sort of a big night. We'd have all kinds of notable people come through there.
And that, I assume the city was still very bohemian at that time. Hey, this is like
Yeah,
pre-tech boom.
this is pre-tech boom, so there's still a lot of freaks, a lot of artists, a lot of musicians, and it was a lot of just a very colorful place, and it really was really alive. And it's a
Wow.
shame to kind of see, what happened with the whole tech thing that did not help out the artistic and creative aspect of the city. Kind of suffered as a result of that, but I did have a great time, and maybe it will rise again. San Francisco will rise
Yeah, that's
again.
the spirit. And this is the
Yeah.
90s. So you were doing a bit of partying then, right? This is kind of your party decade.
Well, I was when I first got there. I was really in Albuquerque up to moving there. Really, if you could call it partying. I mean, I don't even know, like heavily medicating. And I moved to San Francisco and was pretty deep into that. And then I just sort of had this epiphany, this revelation that, wow, I am killing myself, so maybe I should stop.
What was
And
the epiphany? It just felt like you hit rock bottom.
yeah, just kind of, I was looking at this bottle of whiskey one night in a motel room, and I was thinking, and everybody else is asleep, and I'm like this seems to be my priority in life, and I'm like, that can't be good. I was thinking, even when
Right.
we got to Washington to play that particular gig, I was more concerned with getting to the liquor store before they closed than getting to sound check on time. So that to
Sure,
me,
sure.
and it wasn't the first time, but this particular time, it really struck me. So then I got sober out there, and things started going a hell of a lot better, for
Yeah,
Liar
sure.
and everything. And at some point, my friend Gina Hall introduced me to George Clinton. Had me to be part of a recording session, and then um, I ended up sort of developing a relationship with George Clinton, who in turn ended up coming out to play on our Alien Love Stock album, and do our record release. And then that sort of led to him asking me to join the band, and so I ended up in Parliament Funkadelic as a result. And this was happening during a difficult period when Liar was breaking up and my relationship was ending. And so George Clinton kind of saved me in a sense. He gave me a lifeboat right about that time.
Nice.
And
What can you think of, like some of the more notable or wild George Clinton shows that you played? Any like
yeah,
chaos happen or anything out of the ordinary?
well, it was always kind of out of the ordinary, but when we would tour Europe, I remember this one particular tour, it was like marathon gigs. I mean, George P. Funk was notorious for playing long shows, longer than anybody, but there was a few times where it was like we were trying to outdo ourselves or something, and it would be 5 hours,
Oh my
and
God.
people are still there, ready for more. Crazy, like in Amsterdam and Brussels and stuff like that. And it would just be this like marathon of insanity. And then we'd go out after the gig, and but like we played Tunisia. I remember when that was crazy. They from the airport, they pick us up from the airport in all these sort of really like janky jalopy vehicles, like vans, right, that look like they're about to just, the wheels are going to wobble off, and
Mm.
but like but then of course they're racing down this road because we're meeting all these dignitaries, these diplomats, like the president and all the high officials of the country are going to be at this gig. It's a big deal that George Clinton's coming, and so they don't want to be late and keep them waiting, so they're just hauling ass, and it's terrifying. And one of the vehicles rolls with some of the crew and band in it,
Wow.
and we're like, oh no, we don't know what the hell the seriousness of this is. Most of them, a couple ended up in the hospital, and ended up being okay. But that was a pretty scary moment. I felt like the vehicle we were in was gonna, fly off the road at any point. But it was really wild to be in Tunisia and like have this outrageous display of decadence, like all these chefs cooking like 75 courses, and the beach,
Whoa.
the beach out, the sliding glass door of our hotel room, you can see the beach, which looks like an alien landscape. And it's like, and there was so much just like, it was just momentum. Like I was moving so fast through all of this, and barely taking it in because, it was just overwhelming, the speed in which things were happening, the touring.
Sure.
And at that time, I had never toured like that in this capacity, and
Goddamn.
the tour buses and the planes and this enormous group of people. I mean, it was like 30 people, 3 tour buses, 30 people on the road with a crew and everything. It was really nuts.
The camaraderie must have been amazing, and it must have been like, what was it like to come off like the luxury tour bus tour back to vans and stuff? Was that a difficult adjustment?
It became just the norm because I would jump back from my trio EMT at the time, with James Whiten on bass, and I would just go from tour bus to van nonstop pretty much. I'd go, if I did a month or 2 with George Clinton, I'd come back and do a month or 2 with, EMT. So, and it was a very different thing, but it came to feel very normal, natural to kind of, make that jump back and forth.
So that always worked for you for all those years, just hopping from tour to tour with not much rest or just constant transient movement?
There was a period where there was just very little time at home. It would be a matter of a few days here and there between tours because it was just, I would be accumulatively probably 10 months out of 12 on the road, So
Wow.
there was so little time at home that, it was almost pointless to have one. But
And how was your brain during that time?
I think I was doing a lot of running, escaping, it was a way
Like
to sort
metaphorical running?
metaphorical running. I think just sort of staying so engaged. I think between being medicated and being so incredibly busy and flying around the world all the time, that I didn't really have a lot of time to even know who I was. I feel kind of like I was just morphing into whatever my environment was around me, and just and I sort of didn't even have I felt very ungrounded and not of this earth, just sort of detached. And but not that there weren't a lot of great times, because there were, and it was, I met great people, and I did have a lot of great standout moments. But now I feel like I'm a little more present for what's happening. Like when I'm out on the road and I'm doing things, I feel like I'm actually there, not just like but
where else did those tours take you? Did they take you anywhere bizarre besides Tunisia?
Well, what felt bizarre to me was Japan. It just felt so foreign because, like,
Weirdest place in the world, man.
fucking weird, right? It's like in Europe, you can make sense of things. There's kind of the same letters. It's not that alien to America, right? It's different, but it's not so alien. It doesn't feel so foreign as like Japan, where I couldn't make sense of anything in Japan. Like without our guide, I would have been utterly lost. Even with somebody there kind of helping guide us through, I was lost. Nothing made, I felt like I would be utterly helpless there, like without help.
It's truly Mars, man. I mean, it feels like you're in an 8-bit Nintendo game, there's a sign on every square foot of every storefront is a sign advertising something. There's vending machines on every corner selling like juice and coffee and umbrellas,
beer and underwear,
underwear and dildos, it's crazy.
So overwhelming. Like even ordering food, I couldn't even begin to do that.
I can't imagine it's easy on your brain living there. It's like one giant Plinko game,
Yeah, a big.
Or Pachinko. What's the game they play there? Pachinko?
Plinko? Is that it? I'm not sure.
Those crazy weird arcades that are just like ding, 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 ding. It's like basically there's slot machine gambling areas, and they're run by the mob, and people just kind of like burn their savings up and smoke cigarettes and just die in front of the Plinko machine.
Sounds like a life to be lived, my friend.
Dark times. Well, awesome, man. This was great. We've been riffing a good 50 plus minutes. I mean, you got Sergeant Splendor hitting the road, which is your band with Kate Vargas. Any
Yeah.
particular highlights we should steer people to?
Well, I know we're going to be doing a lot of Sergeant Splendor in this year. This year, we're going to be hitting the Northwest in February. Like Talent in Portland and Seattle. We'll be playing Joshua Tree Music Festival and Bottle Rock in the spring. New album coming out in May. New Sergeant Splendor with some great players on that. Buena Vista Records will be putting that out, and which is an awesome San Francisco label. So that's happening. I might do I'm going to start doing this, starting a series on YouTube, the Guitars Over Ice Cream, that you'll have to find yourself on.
That'd be cool.
And,
nice.
And I'll also be, who knows what else really is going to happen. I have a new solo album coming out. It'll be a rock album on Bad Reputation, which is that French label.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so in the meantime, we're just, we have 2 weeks here in New York to enjoy the downtime, and then the madness shall ensue.
Man, you never stop. You never stop going, man. I appreciate it. It inspires me to keep going,
What else are we going to do?
You got to keep trucking.
Keep trucking, keep moving on, trying to improve all facets of our being as we go,
Yeah, man, I love it. Well, we'll keep plowing. I always got your back, and this was a great time. Come back anytime. I hope we can hang in real life very soon. Come back to Milwaukee or move to Milwaukee. I think it'd be a good town for you.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, that's a consideration. Can I live there? Could Kate and I move in?
Yeah, my little postage stamp living room. You certainly can. I'll get you an air mattress and a foamy blanket, and it'll be pretty good for one night.
That's all we need, partner. That's all
Beautiful.
we need.
All right, McFadden. Right. Much love, dude. Keep trucking.
You too. Great to talk to you. We'll see you soon, Brett.